welcome to Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Rileigh Smurl.
I'm Sydney McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
Well, sisters, I have good news for you.
What's your news, Sid?
The 90s are back.
I think they are.
Yeah, that's pretty solid, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 90s seem to be back, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for us, because like part of our job is to remind everybody of all the cool stuff that happened in the 90s.
Wait, did we cause this to happen? Is that what? Did we do this?
Did we bring the
Guys.
90s
Brought
back?
the 90s back.
It was
That's
all
amazing.
us. We're why they made the new Ghostbusters. We're why they made a new MTV channel called MTV Classic to air old MTV shows. We're why Hey Arnold is now becoming a movie.
Hey,
In
Arnold has
2017.
become- I didn't know that.
Wow. Like a
All because of us.
Yeah, good us. Good on us.
Go us.
I know.
Go sisters.
And another Clinton presidency,
Mhm.
possibly, probably on the
Maybe.
horizon.
Mhm.
That is the 90s.
Jared Leto is dreamy again. He never stopped. Never stopped being dreamy.
There you go. You're welcome, everyone.
You're welcome, Jared Leto.
You're welcome, Jared.
Because of us, you're still dreaming.
You've become relevant again, and it's all thanks to us. We will take full credit for that.
Yep.
So, Hey Arnold coming back, huh?
Yep.
That was
Saw
a good
that.
cartoon.
Yeah, I love that cartoon.
That
Yeah.
cartoon had a lot of heart. Like, that was funny, but there were a lot of sad episodes. Like, what was the one with the pigeon guy? And then the pigeons, like, flew off with
Yeah.
him. It's like the sad pigeon guy that no one understood.
And then the pigeons fly off with him in the end? Is that
they
what
like
happened?
they like take him to somewhere where he can be appreciated.
Did you all ever think about? Just hear me out. That that Stewie Griffin is Arnold. Look at their head shape.
Wait, this is just based solely on head shape.
Look at their head shape.
All right, he's got
Who
a
else
fan
has that
theory.
head shape?
Rileigh, here's what I need you to do. I need you to sit down and start writing out this theory in great detail. Only type it on the internet and post it somewhere and start letting it permeate.
Here's the whole theory. Stewie Griffin is Hey Arnold.
No. If
There
you're
is no detail. That is the theory.
if you're gonna have some wild internet fan theory, it's got to be more fleshed out than that. You have to have like background. What you need to do is watch both all of Hey Arnold again and all of Family Guy again, all of it, and then find references that like you can cross. Like, oh, but look at this, and then they said, like reasons why they're connected.
Do you think Arnold's name really is Hay and his last name's Arnold and his name really isn't Arnold?
No, I don't. I don't at all.
No,
What's his last name?
100% definitely not. Don't think that.
I don't remember Arnold's last name, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't Arnold, and his first name was Hey. I think it was because people would say, "Hey Arnold," like to get his attention.
Now, wait a second, though. But we didn't ever see Arnold's parents, right? Like,
No, he lives with his grandparents, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they could be brothers. Maybe this is I don't know. Maybe it's like a lost child situation,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Maybe.
So his parents are really Lois and Peter Griffin? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not actually going to follow you down this road.
I was sitting here debating, like, well, maybe it was only one of their children. Maybe they're half brothers. Yeah, I don't know that.
Oh, I don't want to. I don't know. I'm not. I was
tried.
trying to go through the motions for you. I can't.
I'm going to get out of my depth here too when it comes to Hey Arnold, because while I did watch some Hey Arnold, I enjoyed it. It was definitely not one of my top cartoons that I watched. So I don't know that I would be able to speak about it very.
It was in my
Intelligently.
top 10.
Your top 10?
It was in my top 10, not my top 5.
That's a lot of cartoons.
Got a lot of cartoons.
There was some. I'm trying to remember when it was exactly that cartoons became something that it was still cool to watch when you got older. Because I don't think it started that way, but definitely by the time I graduated high school, there were cartoons that everybody watched.
I feel like that kind of came into like popularity probably with like the Adult Swim generation. I think that was kind of the first time it's like, oh, we don't have to make all these for kids. Teenagers like these too, and adults. Like, I think that kind of started the movement, maybe.
Was Beavis and Butthead before that?
Well, Beavis and Butthead came from Liquid Television, I'm pretty sure.
Because that was what I remember thinking. Not only was Beavis and Butthead cool to watch, like it was specifically geared towards us as teenagers.
Yeah,
It was not safe for kids.
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of cartoons that are cartoons, but they're not meant for children to watch them.
Yeah, and
Like
I don't know.
adults.
I don't know exactly when that happened. I mean, I guess in the 90s is when that happened, right? So like you talked about liquid television, that would have been the 90s, late 80s, maybe early 90s.
Yeah, and that one, I mean, the original, The Simpsons was probably the first cartoon that people of all ages watched, but that was definitely like,
Yeah.
all that same time period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no child should have been watching liquid television.
No.
It was disturbing stuff. I remember we would actually, Mom wouldn't let us watch it. We'd watch it at Kyle's house, our cousin.
Yeah.
The cool aunt that let us watch liquid television.
Which is funny because our parents didn't, like, typically they let us watch anything.
Yeah.
We were the kids, we were the house you came to watch the shows you weren't allowed to watch otherwise.
I mean, I started watching Family Guy when I was 4,
Yes, you did.
so.
That is very true. I mean, but like I remember there was a time, I know this isn't a cartoon, a little off the subject, which by the way, we're talking about cartoons.
That wasn't clear.
It was clearly.
We're talking about cartoons now. But Married with Children was a show that I know we had friends who weren't allowed to watch.
Mom and Dad loved that show, though.
We watched it like as a family.
Yeah.
Like it's family time. Let's watch Married with Children. Those were the Bundys.
Mm-hmm.
You vaguely aware that show existed? Nothing?
Oh, man.
Well, that's not a cartoon, so not relevant.
Well, that's not what we're talking about today, Sydney, so get back on the topic.
Well, I'm not
We'll
going to tell you.
revisit that.
You missed out on the best show of all time. No, I'm not saying that.
I did rewatch that recently. That and Roseanne. They hold up pretty well.
Do they?
Yeah, I enjoyed them.
I've seen some Roseanne like in reruns more recently and thought like that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Roseanne.
I've never seen that either.
Well,
Anyway,
all right. Cartoons.
So The Simpsons were banned for a lot of kids I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Bart was like a bad kid.
You're
What?
running around telling people to eat your shorts before long. No way, not my kids.
Exactly. Like he told people to eat his shorts and he rode a
Riding
skateboard.
a skateboard?
Skateboards are dangerous.
Play with a slingshot? No way.
Slingshot, yeah.
Mhm.
He was always getting detention.
Always, every single day he was writing on that board. Every
Yeah.
Sunday. How did he get detention on Sundays?
Well, I mean, Rileigh, I know that the show was aired on Sundays, but I don't know that.
They actually film it on a school day. Interesting fact about The Simpsons.
Someday we'll figure out where Springfield is, and we'll go there, and you can see.
I like how ambiguous they are about where it is.
Mhm.
That makes me laugh. That's
It's
a
a
pretty
good-
funny goof.
But everyone there is jaundiced, however, unfortunately.
It's true.
That's too bad.
What about Family Guy? I mean, that was pretty much The Simpsons like copied over, right?
Oh, I mean, I
Except
think
10 years later.
I think that there was definitely inspiration drawn from The Simpsons.
Oh.
I mean, you know, I think anybody involved with it
Yeah.
would be lying if they said there wasn't. Which
Yeah.
I mean, to an extent, like The Simpsons is, if you think about a cartoon that wasn't just for kids, that was meant for adults and teenagers to be watching, and has gone on to spawn like all of these kind of like inspirations from. I mean,
Right.
like every cartoon since then has to at least in some way acknowledge The Simpsons.
Yeah.
In that same way that like you'd be hard pressed to say that there are a lot of rock bands today who don't in some way acknowledge that the Beatles were important. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So The Simpsons are the Beatles of the cartoon universe.
Does
Okay.
Does that give The Simpsons too much credit? I don't know.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
I know they've stuck around for 27 seasons. That's there's been like Rileigh. There have been Simpsons for your entire life.
Yeah, that's almost twice my lifespan.
Yeah.
You know, when Charlie was born and we brought her home from the hospital, there was an Every Simpsons Ever marathon
I remember
running.
this.
I remember that.
Yep. And those were the whatever, it was like a week or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was all we did when we first got home from the hospital. We had The Simpsons on all the entire time. And I still to this day think like someday I'm going to look at Charlie and say, do you know that the first week of your life,
All you watched was The Simpsons.
in the background, I mean, you weren't aware of it. You couldn't see that far. But in the background of your life, The Simpsons was on 24/7.
Couldn't see that far.
Well, you know, she couldn't yet. While I was stuck on the couch breastfeeding nonstop, I felt like every 30 seconds for a week.
At least The Simpsons were on, keeping you company.
I watched all of them. Well, more, I mean, I slept too.
You didn't watch every single one of them?
No.
24 hours a day?
We used to be really into The Simpsons, though. Do you remember having their tape or their music?
Oh, yeah. What was the, Deep Trouble.
Yep.
Yeah. It was they cut an album, Rileigh.
They did.
They did?
Yeah. Drive around in the car listening to Bart Simpson. And then there was, what was the other one? Sibling Rivalry?
Yeah, you and I used to sing that one.
Uh-huh, totally.
You were the Bart Simpson, though.
Was I?
You were Bart,
between the two of us for sure.
And I was Lisa.
Oh,
Does that make me Maggie?
definitely.
I think you're Maggie for
Does
sure.
that mean I never talk?
I need to play. I need to play this for you.
I do need to hear this.
Now, Deep Trouble was a bit of a rap.
So it's for me.
So, yes, so you can sing it for us later.
It's all for me.
Do you remember any of it, Taylor?
No.
Is that a lie?
I
I remember
Something-
it was like the second verse, like, I was in the front yard mowing like crazy, sweating like a pig, and the sun is hazy. Homer's in the driveway
please
getting in the
keep
car
going.
with Mom and Lisa. Hope they're going real far. The dad yells, Bart, and I yell, yo. He says, you done yet? And I go, no.
What?
You said-
Oh, she's like, I don't remember this. She's got it all.
I think I remember a little bit of it. Like, maybe a little bit of the verse.
I had the whole thing memorized when I was younger because I thought it was the coolest thing that had ever happened. It was a Bart Simpson rap, and so I memorized it and sang it.
It's real cool.
And I was always in so much deep trouble.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Because you're such a troublemaker. You're such a Bart.
No, I was a total Lisa. But you're right. You mentioned Liquid Television, and I think like with Liquid Television, there were all these weird, crazy cartoons that, as a kid, kind of made me uncomfortable. Like, we shouldn't be watching this. I don't understand what's happening. That's something bad. That has something to do with sex. I don't know what it does. I don't know what kind of or like why, but it does. That is a sex thing.
Yep. It's like Aeon Flux was on that, and that used to just disturb me. I wanted to watch it. I knew it was cool, but it was like just made me feel bad. Weird.
Yes. Like I can't, and especially because we would watch it all together, and so I'd be sitting there thinking like, I'm watching this with my cousins, and like this is weird. I don't know what's happening, but it's, again, this is a sex thing, I think.
It's all Aeon Flux, all a sex thing.
I think. Is it? I don't know. People seem almost naked all the time.
Yeah.
But Beavis and Butthead, now that I felt like we could really own because I watched it and I thought it was really funny. Rileigh, have you at least seen some Beavis and Butthead?
I have not.
You're not, are you even aware, like when I say those names, like can you conjure images of what they look like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you have some
I
familiarity.
have an idea, but I have never seen the show.
And it was great because they also watched music videos on the show. So you were watching music videos and watching
Show
Beavis
and a
and
show?
Butthead. It was a show.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I remember like Mom and Dad seeing us watch that and not getting at all why we were watching it. Which is, when you're a teenager, I think that's what you're striving for, right?
To be incomprehensible to the older generations. Yes.
Like when I was watching a cool teen TV show on Netflix the other day, and Mom walks by and goes, "Ooh, what's that? That looks cool. I want to watch that." I was like, "Nope, changing
it. I'm never watching
What?
this again.
What was the cool teen TV show, or can we not know?
Vampire Diaries."
Okay.
I actually watched like the first season of that.
It's really
So,
good.
It was.
It's really good.
But then I heard that everybody I liked on it left the show later, so
What?
never mind.
I'm only on season 2, Sydney.
Oh, well, I don't mean to spoil anything.
Spoiler alert. Gosh.
Anyway.
Spoiler
I
Sid
didn't give
over
any
here.
specifics.
Spoiler Sid. And conspiracy theory Rileigh.
Tay, what do you have against TV shows?
I'm normal, not have any weird, crazy hang-ups, Taylor. Super not true.
But then after that came Daria, which was much better in terms, like for me, like as
Right.
what, I liked Beavis and Butthead. I got Daria.
Well, and it was directly a spinoff though, because Daria was a character on Beavis and Butthead, and then got her own show.
They used to call her Diarrhea.
Yeah,
I love Daria.
Daria's
Yes.
amazing.
I love Daria.
Daria, I think, unites us all because it, especially speaking from, I think, a female perspective right now, that to see like a cool, smart, and not into anybody really, not into. I mean, yes, she had a crush on Jane's older brother. That was like a constant thing, but it wasn't who she was. It wasn't her whole day. It wasn't her whole thing.
Yeah.
And she was, every time you thought, there were several times where you thought like Daria was gonna like be a little more, I don't know, like get over her hangups, you know, and be a little less thorny and a little softer. She wasn't.
Did you like that?
I liked it because it was unapologetic. Well, it was who she was.
Right.
They never felt the need to soften out her hard edges to make her more likable.
Well, and it wasn't just like that. That show had some pretty serious content to it. Like, it wasn't just cliche like, oh, she's angsty and complains about things. I remember there was one episode about a classmate that died that was a real jerk. And Daria was trying to come to terms with the fact that, like, just because he died doesn't mean he's not a jerk. Like, he wasn't a jerk his entire life, which was kind of a complicated thought process for, you know, a cartoon.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, the characters I think were very multi-layered. I mean, Daria was, but so was Jane, who was initially you thought was just going to be as kind of like dark and cynical and kind of like that twisted sense of humor that we were supposed to expect from Daria. But there were times where Jane was a lot more almost human, like a lot more emotional, a lot softer, a lot easier on people, not so hard on people all the time, in ways that were you could connect with very well. And like times where even she was like, geez, Daria, lay off.
Well, and even like the characters that should have been throwaway, like like Brittany, the cheerleader character, or like Quinn, the popular sister character. Like they're still episodes that would purposely undermine the cliche that they represent, which I thought that was cool. Like, it was the whole cast was likable.
The parents even got episodes like that.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen the conspiracy theory about Daria?
Oh no!
What are you going to tell me now?
She's adopted.
Why?
Because, like, she's nothing like her. It doesn't really even look like her sister or parents. And who's that one woman? She's not in a bunch of episodes, but, like, she looks like just like an older version of Daria. Like, she wears the same glasses.
The cliched angry feminist.
Yes.
Is that who you're talking about?
Yes. Like, she wears the same glasses as Daria and kind of looks like Daria, same hair color.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't
remember
She's
her
a
name.
teacher.
Yes. I remember her name, but I saw a conspiracy theory that she's really Daria's mom and that she's not related to any of the what's her last name?
Morgendorffer.
Yeah. Morgendorffer. She's not related to any of them at all.
Oh, I don't buy that at all.
I don't know. I don't endorse that.
No, I think it celebrates that you can have a family that feels very different from you. Because actually, you know what? On the surface, you would, I think, interpret it that way. But then the more you got to know the other characters, the more you saw like there was one episode I remember where Quinn is really smart.
Yeah.
And remember, she doesn't like being the smart girl. So she goes back to pretending like she's not smart because she can't handle it. But the truth is Quinn is really smart.
Yeah, Mom called me Quinn once. And I didn't know whether to take offense or to be like, okay, fair.
I was always very much a Jane. I'd like to think.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I always thought of you as a Jane.
I could see that.
The one, and that's what the one move the show made that it just bummed me out was when they had Daria steal Jane's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because that was never a thing in the show. Like that you were right. Like it was never a show about relationships, and then that was like kind of towards the end of it, and really just bummed me out.
Yeah, that's not a Daria move.
No, it wasn't at all. And then Jane just tried to like find a way to be okay with it, which okay, also like real writing, but I don't know. I wish they didn't. I wish they hadn't done that with the character.
I gotta go back and watch it all again. I have the entire thing on DVD.
It's still at my house.
Well, and the cool thing about when Daria was being released, it was an MTV show, and they had all of this very recognizable music in the background. But then the biggest problem with the DVD release was they getting the rights to all of these songs. So actually, the official release has different music.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but you know what? I might not know that because I have a bootleg.
Well, yeah. So the bootleg is the one that you can actually hear the way it was supposed to be, and that was another cool thing about it is like they had a lot of good music. In the original.
That was really interesting little tidbits. I'm gonna call you now.
Oh, am I Tidbit Tay?
You're Tidbit Tay.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Hey, Tidbit Tay, you get that from Tidbit Tom. By the way.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
My
our
name
dad.
doesn't have alliteration in it. I don't know how I feel about it. Spoiler, Sid and Tidbit Tay. We'll figure it out
Yeah.
as we go. We'll get there.
Irrational fan theory, Rileigh.
Okay.
Flows a little better.
I don't know. Maybe it's something like ruining your favorite shows, Rileigh. I'll never get over what you did to Rugrats.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
We can't go back down that
No.
dark hole.
I don't think I ever talked about the actual theory on the show.
Let's not.
I think I mentioned it, but then told you all about it afterwards.
It's very upsetting.
It is very upsetting.
Don't ever read the.
That was a good cartoon.
That was a
we
great
didn't even
cartoon.
we didn't even talk about Rugrats.
Rugrats was a great
I
cartoon.
loved Rugrats. That was my jam.
Yeah. The Rugrats, and that was in a block with what else was on with Rugrats?
We had, that was all like Rugrats and Doug. Doug was great.
Yeah, Doug was great.
Rocco's Modern Life.
Patty, you're the mayonnaise for me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Patty, you're the mayonnaise for me.
You know, I'm taking Tidbit Tay's job here, but the voice of Patty Mayonnaise is the same as Yoko Jones from Orange is the New Black.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
know
They're the
that.
same person.
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
I can
can
see
hear
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
totally.
hear that.
There you go.
An important cartoon for me from back in the day was Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
That I remember. Well, that was the thing that you and Justin shared in your
Yes.
young relationship.
We used to sit on the phone, and because it was late in the evening and we weren't like, we couldn't hang out, it was school night. So we would sit and talk on the phone and watch. Riley's giving me the worst look, and watch Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Oh, that's adorable. I love Space
Is
Ghost. It is. It's cute. That's nerd love. I like that.
I was a big fan of Brack, so when they had the Brack show starring Brack, I really liked that.
Well, and Musical Barbecue, the album that was the Space
Yeah.
Ghost Coast to Coast album. Sidney and I could sing word for word for a while there.
Somebody left a cake out in the rain.
Oh, no! I was gonna eat that cake, but now it's all wet, and I don't think I want any.
I'm gonna have to share this with you, right?
That's I love you, baby.
This weekend we have a long car trip to the beach. Taylor, you will be there with us for a portion of it. Can we?
We 100% can.
Can
We
someone find it?
We're gonna play Musical Barbecue, and I can't wait though, because Mom and Dad are gonna start listening and go, wait a second, why do I know? Oh no, is this back? Is this again? I thought we were past this.
No. Zorak was always my favorite on that show.
That was a great, and that was original Adult Swim. Was that part of the original lineup for Adult Swim?
Oh yeah, that's the thing that kind of launched Adult Swim. I mean, if memory serves, this was a Space Ghost Coast to Coast was like a New Year's thing. They just did like a one-time New Year's countdown on Cartoon Network, and then it was so well received. I mean, maybe it was planned at that point, but then that became Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and that was the thing that really, I think, launched Adult Swim. I mean,
Yeah. Which, I mean, was always my favorite, although I think Adult Swim grew into a lot of other great things that may kind of lead us into stuff Riley's more aware of.
yeah. Well, the original Adult Swim had C-Lab. It had you had Harvey Birdman after a while. Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
I did watch that.
You did.
I was probably way too young to be watching that, but I did watch that.
That show is harmless. Sort of.
The thing I like most about Aqua Teen Hunger Force is that they were supposed to be superheroes, right? Like they're supposed to be crime fighters.
They were?
That was the whole thing. Like so if you haven't seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force, this is going to sound like the craziest thing anyone's ever said. So there was a big anthropomorphic shake,
Like
milkshake, fries, and ball of meat, like ground beef, like for a hamburger.
Wad,
A
technically.
meat wad. And the three of them they live in this like old crummy house, and it's really just about the weird things that they're into and their neighbor and that kind of stuff.
Crazy antics.
Yes, but they're supposed to be crime fighters. Like that's how the opening theme song. Like
I
that's
did not
that's
know
that
that.
whole and like the opening sequence. It's all about how they're going to fight crime, but then they don't, which I guess is another layer to the joke because they're already a piece of meat and a milkshake and some French fries.
Wad of meat, if you will.
Sorry, yes, that was amazing. Justin still wants us to go for Halloween some year as the three, like me and him and Charlie.
Can you make Charlie a little meat wad?
She's got to be the meat
He
wad.
wants to dress her as meat wad. And I'm like, we're going to go door to door and people are going to go, what? And 2, Charlie will never forgive us when she looks back at pictures of her dressed as a meatwad.
I have to request that the only body parts you can see in this meatwad costume are 2 feet, 2 hands,
2 little hands,
and her face.
Sounds
I want to keep talking about Adult Swim and moving us forward, but
But can we take a break and check the group message real quick?
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Why don't we check out the group message? Rileigh, why don't you tell us?
Can I do it this week?
You can do it. Rileigh was very upset that I didn't let her talk enough last week when we did
Kind of kept doing your things.
I butted in, so.
This week, still, I'm going to get real excited about it. Everyone's going to want me to do it from now on.
You should be excited. This is exciting.
This week, Still Buffering is sponsored in part by Take My Wife, a new CISO exclusive, and that is SEESO.com, which is, do you all know what CISO is?
Tell us what CISO is, right?
I'll tell you.
We do, but those listening at home may not.
It is a new ad-free streaming comedy service with new originals, quotable classics, late night, and stand-up specials. Take My Wife is a new show on CISO about careers, couples, comedy, and motorcycle rackets, which, like, sounds pretty good,
Huh.
right?
Yeah,
This
there's
is gonna. Oh, go ahead.
I know. There's a super cute trailer for it. If any out there in the world, it looks great. I'm psyched on it.
It does.
Yeah, this looks like a really great new show. It's with real life married couple and stand-up comedians Cameron Esposito and Rhea Butcher, who are already super funny, and then you combine them on this show that they helped to create and write as well as star in. So you really should check it out. And CISO itself is a really great new streaming service. Eventually, you're going to be able to check out a My Brother and Me TV show on CISO. And then they have a lot of other great like classic shows, like, for instance, Parks and Recreation, which I can binge watch any day of the week.
Me too.
Saved by the Bell.
30 Rock.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you need to check out CISO anyway, but especially for this new TV show, Take My Wife, because it looks amazing.
And guess what, y'all?
What, y'all?
Got a code for you.
Uh-oh.
If you go to CISO.com, that is SEESO.com, and use the promo code TakeMyWife, all one word, you get 2 months free of CISO.
So that's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's an amazing opportunity to check out this new streaming service. Check out this new show, Take My Wife. And it really, find the trailer for it. Take My Wife on CISO. You will be as bowled over, I think, as we were when we watched it.
Yeah, it was very funny. We watched it together.
Yeah. We all laughed together. And you can laugh too with your loved ones at home. So one more time, Rileigh, what's that address?
You can go to CISO.com, that is SEESO.com, and use the promo code TakeMyWife to get 2 months free of CISO.
All right, so back to cartoons.
Let's get back to cartoons.
All right.
So we were talking about Adult Swim, and that kind of led us into first Robot Chicken.
Well,
Because we're going into the modern era, as we kind of, I'm leading us into Family Guy.
Is that where we're going?
So
I'm
that's
guiding us into Family Guy.
You kind of just like you got rid of your transition there. You kind of just went right into it.
I'm just telling you. See, where I want to get, guys, is Family Guy. So tell me how to get
Why do you want to get to Family Guy?
Because, well, for Rileigh, because I feel like that was
true.
a
She
formative...
did love Rileigh.
That was
Yeah.
like that. I loved Rileigh. That was
Family Guy loved Rileigh.
It did. That was my first cartoon experience.
So you started your life off with Family Guy, and Charlie started hers off with The Simpsons. This is a familial theme.
Who will turn out better?
But before
I already have.
before we leave the MTV generation behind, though, I do want to mention Celebrity Deathmatch. Not exactly a cartoon; it was claymation, but and I feel like I heard that was maybe coming back. They were going to do like a special, but that was I loved that show. I don't know if it would hold up now, but it was great. Like, Rileigh, I don't even know if you're familiar. It was claymation, and they would just pick two celebrities to just have a epic clay fight, and they were really brutal, and they were really goofy, and it was a really fun TV show that actually, over time, developed some weird narrative where you actually were invested in, like, the host's personal lives.
Yep.
Like, what was the female correspondent with Stacey Cornflake? Is that her name?
Yes, man, that was a deep cut there.
Oh, Tidbit.
Tidbit Tay.
No, that really was
Back
fun.
out
Although
again.
when I look back, I feel kind of bad about. I know that an aspect of watching that was to see like some of the pop stars or whoever that you just didn't like getting their little clay butts kicked by other little clay figures of people maybe you did like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's a little brutal in retrospect.
I could see that being very entertaining.
But it was all fake. I mean,
Yeah.
with no, there were no celebrities were really harmed, which I think may have even been part of the opening thing.
Yeah, I think the copy at the beginning said something about like the celebrity impersonations are very bad.
Yeah.
I like that. I want to watch that. It seems pretty interesting.
I bet you could use that little computer that you carry around everywhere with you, called a phone, and find it on the internet.
That little computer I carry around with me.
They are. We carry computers with us every day. It's a great time to be alive.
Sydney, what just happened? Where did you
Just
go?
saying. Technology everywhere.
We're talking about cartoons. Get with us. Come back. Come back.
Sydney's waxing poetic about iPhones right now.
Sydney has wandered off.
I'm just thinking, it's an amazing time. Anytime we want to know these things, like, do you want to see Celebrity Deathmatch? Just look on YouTube. You probably can find it.
I mean, yeah, I bet you
guarantee
can. I needed you to tell me that, though.
On a quick note on that on YouTube. Who are these amazing people who put all of these television shows on YouTube?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know them personally.
No.
I love these. Like, I mean, we can find all of Dragon's Den on YouTube, and I love the people who do this. And I'll never know them, but I love them.
I mean, I'm sure the people that like properly license these shows and attempt to make money off of them don't love those people. But
Justin found this old game show from the UK from the 90s called Cluedo that was like a live action Clue.
That sounds fun.
Sort of. Yeah, like a live action Clue. I guess that's a fair. There were like videos of it, and then you had to solve the crime, and they had teams like celebrity and crime, like actual police investigators.
How do you spell this so I can go home and watch this?
Clue with a dough on the do. That's actually what Clue is called in the UK.
Cluedo?
Cluedo. And if you are listening in the UK, Cluedo is called Clue here.
So Pluto.
Cluedo.
Cluedo. Is
Play-Doh.
it?
It comes from the word clue, and then I think that like the Latin for play is like ludo.
Play-Doh. We're
Cluedo.
talking about Play-Doh.
No.
Is there an accent on the dough?
Cluedo.
Like Homer Simpson?
Cluedo.
Anybody that gets that reference, 5 points.
I don't. Nope, we lose.
Play-Doh.
Are you afraid of the dark? Zyto, accent on the dough.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
was not a cartoon.
That was not a
No, it
cartoon. You're right.
wasn't.
All right.
But I
was-
have seen that.
That was.
But I have seen that.
Snick never had any cartoons, did it? Was it all live action?
Ren and Stimpy was
Oh,
Snick?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's Ren and Stimpy's All Real Monsters was on Snick too, right?
Oh yeah.
I used to watch Ren and Stimpy, and I've seen clips from Ren and Stimpy recently. Like, that show was not made for kids. There was some inappropriate
absolutely not.
stuff in Ren and Stimpy.
It was incredibly
used-
disturbing.
Yeah, I used to, like, go to our grandparents' house and watch that after school.
There were hairy butts on there a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
the extreme close-ups of just like crusty eyes and like snot. Oh man.
Yeah.
And butts.
And
Yeah, it
butts.
was rough.
Butts.
We used to eat dinner as fast as possible so that we could eat dinner before it started, because once it was on, I couldn't eat
You
food.
couldn't. Yeah. Makes sense.
This is a bit of an aside, but I remember with Snick, the one thing that we do every Halloween was Snick or Treat, where they would, I don't know how this worked. They call a random number. If you answered your phone and you said Snick or Treat, you won a cool prize. I'm pretty sure the prize was a copy of 13 Dead End Drive, the board game.
Which was a great board game.
We have that board game now, don't we? We found that somewhere.
Well, I think
we
Mom and
did.
Dad finally just bought it for me because I wouldn't stop answering the phone with Snick or Treat. I'm like, is Mary there? So finally they just bought it for me. It's like, just stop saying that.
Taylor, it's April. The contest is over.
Snick or Treat, though, right? Snick or Treat.
But Rileigh, you really did. I know Family Guy is. I think that's one of those lightning rod things where like some people really love it, but there's some haters of Family Guy out there too.
Have you seen the special episode of Family Guy? Like the 100th episode, I think is what it was. And Seth MacFarlane like showed people who had never seen Family Guy episodes of Family Guy, and they didn't know that he was like the creator of the show. And they were like, "So what do you think of Family Guy?" And all the people were like, "I hated it. I would never show this to anyone ever. This was not funny. I didn't get it."
I always liked Family Guy.
I
know
did
that
too.
I know that a lot of people and we really did. It was inappropriate how young you were when we started showing you.
Oh, I mean,
Family
I remember
Guy.
Christmases where I would get copies of the DVDs of Family Guy.
Uncle Michael was the one who started that.
Yeah, Scampy Mike.
Yeah, Scampy Mike. He had them all on DVD and started showing you those when you were visiting over there one day. And then it was too late. You loved it.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about cartoons now, because I feel like that's like half the show, right? Is that am I correct?
Yeah, the now.
The now.
That's the
me.
90s that are now.
That's
the
the-
snake eating itself. We all is one. Now is then is now.
That's the Rileigh part.
Forever is always.
So I actually don't watch a lot of cartoons now, but I feel like all the cartoons I watch now have like some sort of plot behind them. Like they're not just like you can watch an episode whenever, any episode of any season. Like I feel like these are like you could, but there's also kind of a backstory. And
Like
I
what?
feel like that's different.
Like give us some
like
examples.
Adventure Time.
Super true.
What's the Gravity Falls, Over the Garden Wall, stuff like that. Like it's you could watch it and it's just like a cute cartoon and it's funny, but then also storyline.
And Adventure Time seems to have and I'm going to go ahead and say I've seen like one episode ever.
What?
I love Adventure Time.
I know. I knew you guys were going to be incredulous. I know.
I have a Finn onesie and Taylor's a Jake onesie.
It's true.
I feel like I missed that moment. I don't know if it was there. Okay, sisters, there's this hole in my life that is represented by med school where anything that happened, I just don't know.
Okay, Sydney, how long have you been out of medical school?
So it wasn't that long ago is what you're saying.
I started watching the show within the past like 2 years.
Well, there was residency too. I don't know. There's this medical education kind of sucks
I don't
away
hear a
everything else
reason.
for
I
a
hear
while.
an excuse.
It is an excuse.
Yeah. Well, and Sid, you got to get back in with because the cartoons today are so good.
They are.
Like they are like they have so much heart to them. Like they're and I think it's cartoons that are being made by people that grew up in our generation that had these cartoons that like always had that weird gray area of like this could be for an adult. This doesn't have to be for a kid, and they're just taking that to the next level of making like good dialogue, like good writing, like suspenseful, like people that grew up with all these teenage cool cartoon shows and also anime, which is, you know, worth mentioning. It's huge impact, I think, on the generations making stuff now. But there's so much good stuff out there. Rick and Morty. Oh my
I love
God.
that show.
I love Rick and Morty.
You got me into that show, Tay.
Yeah.
That was exactly what I was going to ask, Tay, if you think, because I feel like you have a little bit of extra insight on this.
My degree is in cartooning.
Well,
Doctor of cartoons.
I am a professional cartooner.
well, that's what I was going to say. I feel like you have some insight here. That I remember you telling me when we were younger, and because you introduced me to anime. Really, I mean, I watched Sailor Moon, but other than that, everything else I knew about anime was because of you. You told me once, you know, in Japan, adults watch cartoons all the time. And I remember you saying that and me thinking, wouldn't that be weird if everybody watched cartoons? But now everybody does. And you're right, adults do. And I wonder how much of that is because of people exactly your age and from your and my generation who grew up with this influence of anime and then thinking, why isn't everybody here watching this same kind of great stuff? Why aren't we creating this same kind of great stuff for, you know, our culture?
Yeah, I've also kind of noticed, and I don't know, I've never watched anime other than some Sailor Moon. I don't know if this kind of may be from that, but I've noticed in a lot of more recent cartoons that kind of characters are going through things that become permanent throughout the rest of the series. Like in some cartoons, like a character could like, you know, get their arm cut off or get their leg cut off, and the next episode is totally fine. It's back. But there's a lot of like long-lasting effects to things. Mm-hmm. I mean, most of the time they end up getting resolved, but it still lasts throughout a few episodes or a few seasons. And I don't know if maybe that's like, is that a thing in anime? Like, it's not just like a character, you know, falls from a 100-story building and survives. Like they die.
Well, no, I mean, it's like it's there. It's not episodic. It's not. I mean, you know, you don't have a storyline that begins and ends in the half an hour segment of a cartoon. You have things that keep going, that have like long resolve on them, or permanently, you know, permanently alter the storyline. And I think that is a thing that in the past, maybe the idea of the people making the cartoons, like look at Looney Tunes. I love Looney Tunes, but it's ultra violence. Nothing has long-term impacts on anything. It's just like, it's fun, goofy, bright colors and music in front of kids to keep them occupied. And now I think we're raising our expectations for what kids and adults also watching, can follow. They're being written more on like less on this idea of like, it's a throwaway show for kids, and more like, this is entertainment in any form.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I think you talk about that there's still repercussions, so it's like a through line. It's a through storyline, which wasn't even true when you think about something like South Park, which was a cartoon very much for adults. Where Kenny died every episode.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing.
Yeah, but then was back the next one.
Right.
But I think maybe when you think about like a lot of these things we cited as the early examples of cartoons for older people, the way they broke into the adult market was through stuff that was clearly not for kids. So like, we're not going to make this ambiguous. This has sex or violence or nudity or profanity or some sort of theme that you're not going to want a kid to see. So it's very like, because it's so crude, it couldn't be for kids. It has to be for adults. Maybe that was the easiest in. And then all of a sudden we all accept, like that begins to permeate the culture. Like, okay, now we accept that sometimes adults watch cartoons. And then once you've got that door open, you can start sliding smarter things in it. Okay, now how about instead of a butt joke, like how about we talk about, I don't know, father-daughter relationships. I don't know, something more intense. You know what I mean? Like we slide something in that door once it's open to adults and we've accepted that we can turn a cartoon on and we don't have to go, oh, that's for kids.
Right.
A lot more can come through that door.
Well, yeah. That's an interesting way of thinking about it, because I do think it's less about like, they're, cartoons for kids and they're kind of dumb, and then things for adults are smart. It's like, I think in the past, maybe cartoons have always been dumb, whether they're for adults and they have, inappropriate content, or they're for kids, they're lowbrow, quote unquote. And I think that probably we're in a really awesome golden age of animation right now. I feel like in what's coming out of America, where we're making shows that have heart and they have content, and they are not, I would say, lowbrow experiences at all. They're smart, which is awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I know, Sydney, you've seen it. I'm pretty sure, Taylor, you've seen Over the Garden Wall.
Oh, yeah. I watched it with Sid. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just a 10-episode little miniseries on Cartoon Network. But it was like, there were some parts of it where I got like sad, like cried. Like it had deep moments, but it was also super cute and super funny. And there were times where I was like, oh my gosh, candy camouflage. There's some candy on your pants. And like there's a little boy wearing a teapot on his head. But still,
that show is so good.
It's so good and it's so cute and so funny. But it also has like a good storyline and deep, sad, emotional parts.
And a song about potatoes and molasses.
And a song about potatoes and molasses that I can play on my ukulele.
Upload that YouTube video, please.
Which is nice too. The thing I liked about it too is Charlie would watch it. So the idea that there could be something not just palatable to adults, which a lot of the things that I have found now as a parent, they'll be like, well, this cartoon's a little better because it's, as an adult, it's not so painful. And that's quite literal. Well, I guess it's not painful. That's the best I can say. But watching something like Over the Garden Wall was truly delightful for me.
Yeah.
And then Charlie liked it too. So bonus, we can watch something together because it's smart enough and cool enough, and then also visually stimulating enough, to be enjoyable across the ages, as opposed to just something like, well, I guess I'm not going to scream having to watch this again. Which is, I mean, that's how I feel about some of, when I think about cartoons that are for Charlie, for kids now,
right?
Some of them, it's just,
I'm
just trying not to, put my head through a window.
I think there was always a desire to make, like, we didn't talk about it. This is more for, these were kids cartoons, but like when I was a kid, things like Animaniacs and like Tiny Toons, all of the Warner Brother productions at the time had occasional questionable adult humor in them, and I felt like when you go back and you watch those things now, it's like things were kind of put in there just like, oh, are you stuck watching cartoons with your kids? Here's an inappropriate joke. No, it's a Bill Clinton reference. Your 8-year-old's not going to get this. This is for you.
Don't worry, we slid this in just for you, just like to commiserate with you.
The parents are sitting back there watching, not really paying attention. They hear it and they look up and they're like, that for me?
Right.
That's me.
Thanks.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's a little thing for me. But now I think it's like we actually are making cartoons that can be completely enjoyable for your kids and for the parents watching them, which hopefully that's less painful for you guys.
Which, I mean, and it is, because it's part of it has been, Justin and I actually enjoy some of these cartoons more than Charlie. So it's us trying to like, hey, you don't want to watch, I don't want to name any of the cartoons that I don't like.
Don't say
I don't want to sit here and slam cartoons that we don't enjoy. But don't watch that. Instead, why don't we watch Gravity Falls together?
Oh, I love Gravity Falls.
I love Gravity Falls. I could watch that over and over again. I still haven't seen how it ends, so
I don't know how it
I'm
ends
clueless. I can't spoil that for you because I don't know. It did make me think that if we have another little girl, I should name her Mabel.
That is a good
I
name.
did give you that idea.
You did.
I did.
But yeah, I've tried to force her to watch more of that with me because I love it. And Justin, all the time, I've heard him so many times say, "Charlie, don't you want to watch Steven Universe again?"
Oh, Justin loves Steven
That's
Universe.
one of his favorite shirts to wear. Is a little red shirt with a yellow star on it. I see him wearing that all the time.
But
Justin has that Steven Universe shirt. I have to say that Justin has a Steven Universe shirt, which is, I know that's what it's from. It's very cute. It's a red shirt with a yellow star on it. And the first time our dad saw him wearing it, he waited till Justin was out of the room, and then he went, "Does Justin have a Hardee's shirt on?" Because my husband just loves Hardee's.
That's great.
I could see little Justin looking like Steven Universe.
That's what I like, that Justin's just always in casual Steven Universe cosplay.
Steven Universe just wears that shirt with the star on it and khakis.
Yeah, that's it.
Khaki shorts. And like I've seen Justin wearing that exact outfit before, and kind of looks like an older version of Steven Universe. I can see it.
I think he connects a little bit to Steven Universe.
It's a great show though. It's got such like different kind of characters on it. I mean, not to get on a soapbox, but it's cool to have like competent, multi-layered female cartoon characters. Because as I've mentioned before, that was the thing that drew me to anime, was that you had so many more of those. But I feel like people have really embraced the fandom for Steven Universe is intense. And actually, I follow some of the designers for that show on Tumblr and whatnot. And who is it? Like Rebecca Sugar. I don't know if Natasha Allegri is related to that, or maybe she was Adventure Time. But they make their love for Sailor Moon very clear in their fan art and stuff. So it's like, I feel like, you're my people. That's why you made this cool show. Well,
and I love what that show does. You mentioned multi-layered female characters, but in general with gender, the fluidity of gender.
That's totally true. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the couple examples. One with Amethyst when she's a professional wrestler. Did you guys see that episode?
No.
I've actually never seen the show. I know of the show and the characters, but I've never seen the show.
So in that one, this usually presented as female character very much seems to be presented as a male character as a wrestler. But it's just very fluid. It's just, this is still Amethyst. It continues to be, and I love that and then Garnet.
Yeah.
Is a whole other, her whole story.
Oh, right. How she's the two combined.
She's two people combined. She's two women combined because, that when, I guess, instead of getting married or being in love, they combine into one person, which is a beautiful
and Steven,
metaphor anyway. And
nice.
Yeah.
Well, and Steven does the same thing with his female, sort of girlfriend, best female friend character. And they become a female presenting, combination. And it's not treated like this weird thing. It's just part of his discovery of his powers and, what the gems are. And it's really cool. It's got a lot of ideas that are not presented as anything outlandish. They make sense in the universe. And they also kind of give kids good ideas, more open representation in that show. I think it's great.
Exactly. I love that. I love removing all the things that our society in particular in our culture has layered upon what gender is and what female means and what male means. It takes all that away and presents it at a very raw level that will send messages to kids that you're not even understanding you're getting, which is really the way to talk about this stuff at that level, which is that, everybody's okay. This is all normal. Everybody's okay. There is no normal. Everything's normal. It's all okay.
Yeah. And I think, I might be wrong, I think Steven Universe is also one of the first shows to be completely created by women.
Oh,
right?
Is it? Oh, that's cool.
I think on Cartoon Network at least. One of the
Well,
first
look at
cartoons on there.
Tidbit
Yeah.
Riley over there.
I know. Are you stealing my thunder? Stealing my
Taking your
tidbit
job.
thunder.
I don't have any conspiracy theories about that one.
Are you sure that's not a conspiracy theory?
Maybe it is.
I think you're right. I think that cartoons today you're exactly right. They're a lot smarter than I feel like they used to be. They're a lot more enjoyable for all of us, and they're telling much more interesting stories than they used to be allowed to, I think, as cartoons to tell.
Yeah.
And which is fun, I think, for all of us because we like watching cartoons.
That's very true.
And it's okay.
You know, the talent level, like they're not. You get good writers and good designers because it's being given more respect, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And it was nice because I remember when I was first pregnant with Charlie thinking, well, I guess there's always Sesame Street. That'll be okay. I'll have Sesame Street. And thinking like that would be the only thing I would ever be comfortable. Because I love Sesame Street, which is not a cartoon, of course, but I do love Sesame Street. And I think it's great for her and it's great for me. And it's always fun.
Because you need help with your letters sometimes.
Sometimes I forget my letters and it helps me out. But there's so much more now than Sesame Street, which I did not predict.
What about that Yo Gabba Gabba? That's not a cartoon, but that's definitely a show for kids.
It
But
gives me nightmares.
I say it is so freaky and weird that I kind of love it. Like, that's definitely not made for me. But Taylor, after one or two old fashions, little Yo Gabba Gabba, I'm like, yes.
Taylor, I feel like you probably may have seen this. It's not a cartoon. It's like puppets. Like it's kind of like Sesame Street, and it's a YouTube thing that is definitely not for kids.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Don't hug me, I'm scared.
Yes.
It is so. It starts out so pleasant and so delightful, like you think it's going to be a children's cartoon, and then it is the thing that nightmares are made of.
Absolutely.
That sounds like someday, Rileigh, I'm going to re-show you Wonder Chosen and remind you that I showed you that when you were a little
used
kid.
to show me that all the time, and I used to
What?
request that.
That's so
I used to
wrong.
request
I
watching
know.
that, and I have seen clips of it recently because it's in like the suggested for after Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. And I'm like, oh, I used to watch that show, and then I see it, and I'm like, oh, I used to watch that show.
I blame Justin.
Super bad. Oh,
Although-
man.
To be fair, part of our rationale was you told me once that you wanted to watch the South Park movie when you were really little.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, we can't watch that, honey. There's no way Mom and Dad would let you watch that. And you said, they already showed it to me. I've already seen it. Mom, let me watch it.
That is true.
And it was a lie.
Oh.
It was a lie, but you told it, and I believed you, and I showed you the South Park movie when you were, I don't even know how old you would have been. You were little, way too little to be watching that, because you told me Mom let you watch it. So I
Great
let you watch it.
sistering. But
I'm
yeah,
better at parenting now.
I guess I don't know. It's not a cartoon, but Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is definitely terrifying. But it also has a storyline that is very confusing, but makes you think about it real hard, and also makes me want to watch it a bunch of times over again so I can like figure out what it's all about. But then I just get scared and have to stop.
I was gonna say I've watched it all once. I don't know if I would ever say I want to watch it a bunch of times to understand it. Because like I feel like I need to cry in a corner after I watch that show.
There's just like recurring themes and characters and just so many conspiracy theories.
But if you think, what were you going to say, Tay?
Oh no, I just didn't know there was a conspiracy theory with Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
There is.
Oh, no. Of
There
course
can be
is.
no dark underlying thing to that. The dark is right on top.
It's on the surface.
It's all dark.
Well, and if you think you're too cool for cartoons, go check out some of these ones we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the new season of Rick and Morty. I know it premieres sometime this year.
Over the Garden Wall, I want there to be a second season of that. I don't know where I heard there was going to be a second season, but I want there to be a second season. And if you haven't seen that, go watch it right now. It's very good. It's on Netflix.
Well, thank you, sisters, as always.
You're welcome.
For
I never say you're welcome, but if you're
There
saying
you go.
thank you.
for joining me in this conversation about cartoons. Thank you to our listeners. You are all amazing, wonderful, beautiful people, and we can't say thank you enough.
Yes.
The Facebook group, if you are not a member of it, please consider joining it. It is filled with love and positivity and all kinds of amazing things that I feel like have far transcended anything we could claim responsibility for.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've kind of lost track of how much has come out of that, so we can't take responsibility for most of
No,
that.
it is so much bigger and more amazing and beautiful than I don't even know. It's like a we're not worthy moment when you guys are just awesome to each other.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you. If you have the time, send us an email at stillbuffering@maximumfun.org. Tweet at us at stillbuff. If you do have a second to rate and review us on iTunes, we always appreciate that. If you want a Jumbotron, if you would like to send a message to somebody that you love, hopefully, or like, or at least are friendly with, don't send anything mean.
Are there any rules? Like, we won't break up with anybody over still buffering.
We draw the line somewhere, guys. But if you would like to take out a Jumbotron message on our show, maximumfun.org/Jumbotron. Write a song and Rileigh will sing it.
I will.
Or rap it?
You know what? I haven't offered that yet, but I'm getting so desperate to sing a song. I'll rap it. I'll bring my ukulele. I will sing it. I will do anything.
I think that anybody that does do the Jumbotron, Rileigh, you just translate it into a rap song moving forward.
All Jumbotrons from now on are raps/songs.
You know, you'd be taking over in a proud tradition. Griffin McElroy used to write jingles for everybody they did ads for.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that.
I know.
All right.
Can you imagine having to do that on the fly?
I could never.
Very stressful. He's very talented. Thank you. Well, he is.
Speaking
He's
of
really good at that
speaking of the McElroy brothers, there are other Maximum Fun shows you can check out if you want.
Many have McElroys, not all of them.
A lot of them
There are
do.
a lot of amazing shows that don't have McElroys as well. But if you like the McElroys,
There are a lot of
there's
them
My
that
Brother,
have
My
them on
Brother
them.
and Me. There's the Adventure Zone. There's Schmanners.
Sawbones with Sydney.
Yes, there is that one. There's many others though.
Yeah, and there's a new show, not a Maximum Fun show, but a new show with our dad on it, and Scampy Mike, our Uncle Michael, court appointed. It's on iTunes. Go check that out. It's very funny.
Check out MaximumFun.org for all of our other wonderful, some of them not including McElroy shows, like Jordan Jesse Go and One Bad Mother and Can I Pet Your Dog and so many amazing shows. So Judge John Hodgman, check those out.
Yeah.
And thank you to the novellas.
Yes. For the use of our theme song, Baby You Change Your Mind.
Yes.
This has been Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Rileigh Smurl.
I'm Sydney McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
I am a teenager.
And I was too.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.